Starting approximately from the 70s, the methodological optimism has given way to reconsiderations and redefinitions of their application field. This is based on the recognition of the non-scientific nature of the design process and of the impossibility of a design methodology able to tackle design in an automatic way, and finally, on the acknowledgement of the sterility given by the separation between methodological reflections and design practices. Among the first to react to these excesses was Christopher Alexander himself, considered to be one of the founders of design methodology. The crisis of the sequential vision of the design process, as well as the recognition of the impossibility to divide the analytical and synthetic activities in a clear way, led to new, more complex models. In 1969, in The Science of Artificial, Herbert Simon made a distinction between nature and artificial sciences, such as engineering, architecture, and design, based on the nature of the object to be examined. A state, in the first case, natural sciences concern how things are, and a process, in the second case. Design instead studies how things should be, inventing artifacts to achieve goals. Starting with this distinction, Simon expressed the need for a design science based on other principles, different from the logic, the rationality, and the certain and with no doubt methods typical of the natural sciences. The principle of bounding rationality of Simon originated from the need for rationality principles appropriate to situations in which uncertainty is present, such as that of design actions. The logical operative consequence of this principle is the heuristic method elaborated by Simon and other scientists. Within the framework of a bounded rationality, there is still the ambition to define models characterized by alternative and recurring sequences, even if this is more complex than in the past. Nowadays, we record a progressive shift towards more barycentric positions within the dichotomy of design as art and design as science. In contrast to the idea of design as applied art or as a science, a third approach has been introduced by Donald Schoen in 1983. It presents design as a reflective practice, which is the capacity of building theoretical and general knowledge starting from practice. This particular attitude is actually coherent with the general need of research and educational institutions to leave behind their traditional deductive approach, first theory and then, as a logic consequence, practice, to be able to better face the complexity of the real world. Thus emerged the importance of reasoning about how to form this new figure of the reflexive professional, as well as on considering the ways with which to form, stimulate and combine practical activity reflection on action as the basis for generating new knowledge in the field of design. It emerges a vision of design capable of producing knowledge, but through its own ways, which do not necessarily follow the positive scientific ones. In this way, design research assumes a phenomenological perspective, that is, of observing the reality of the project in order to derive general rules and principles that continuously evolve together with the adopted point of view and the reference context. It emerges a vision of design as a thoughtful practice that elaborates and codifies new knowledge starting from a professional action, a codification of a tacit knowledge based on experience. To conclude, today Metadesign has abandoned its aspiration for a unitary methodology to assume a fragmented and heterogeneous configuration. Making metadesign today means working on dimensions that are often purely subjective and qualitative, looking for a complex and articulated identity project, and working on differences and specificity rather than purely quantitative and standardized parameters. This contemporary idea of metadesign is enriched with cultural and emotional values, in addition to the quantitative and rational values of the system. Nowadays, metadesign keeps its main nature as theoretical and methodological approach to design practice, but also plays an important role in some application fields characterized by the shift from the design of a single project to the design of a project family.